Thank you. Indiana State University is truly honored to have as our alumni speaker, Mr. Mark Barnes. Mark is an ISU alumnus who graduated with degrees in marketing and music. He's always had a passion for music and cars. He loved playing the drums and still occasionally plays, but his interest in cars led him to a career in the automotive industry. He has worked as a parts analyst for Ford Motors, director of the Western Region Business Center for Chrysler, vice president for national sales for Hyundai, and a variety of senior leadership roles with Nissan North America. He is currently the chief operating officer and the interim president for Volkswagen of North America, where he is responsible for the strategic direction and overseeing the U.S. operations. Please join me in welcoming an outstanding alumnus of Indiana State University, Mark Barnes.
Thank you, Dr. Maynard. It's a real honor to be here today. It's great to be in front of a great-looking group of graduates at Indiana State. In fact, I would say it's the greatest-looking group of graduates I've seen since 1981, when I fled these hallowed halls and went on to start my career. We didn't have a winter commencement back then. At least I don't think we did. I was so focused on getting out of Terre Haute, I didn't really stick around. So I guess it actually brings closure to me graduating from this great institution with me standing in front of you in a cap and gown. I grew up in Terre Haute and enjoyed my time at ISU immensely. Well, most of it. During my time here, ISU had a great basketball team led by a guy named Larry Bird. You may have heard of him. How great it was to come to this brand new facility, Holman Center, and watch that team play. Larry's senior year, they almost went undefeated. If they just could have won that last game versus the Michigan State Spartans with Magic Johnson leading. It wasn't to be, however. Now, every year when the NCAA finals roll around, it seems they dig up that game, find Larry and Magic to give some comments, and they play the game once again. Every year I watch, and I think maybe this time Indiana State will come out on the winning side. We still haven't. But I digress. During my senior year, like many of you perhaps, I started realizing I needed to get a job. After interviewing with anyone that would listen to me and receiving a plethora of turn-down letters, I got a job at Ford Motor Company. I left Terre Haute on New Year's Eve, 1981, heading for Phoenix, Arizona, and my first job as analyst. There I worked for Ford, answering the phone, speaking with customers and dealership employees regarding issues they had with their Fords. Let me tell you, I learned quickly in this job that people were not calling to tell me about what a great car Ford built, but rather their problems and what was I, Ford Motor Company, going to do about it. This was my entree to the real world, and I loved it. Well, most of it. My career had begun. Since those early days at Ford, I've worked for 4 different companies, physically moved to a new city 14 times, and had countless different positions, all with one intention: to continue to do a job in a business that I love, the auto business. Despite all of these different positions, my first one was the most interesting. It was in this job that one of my mentors gave me some advice that I've used throughout my career, and I'd like to pass along to you. That advice was adopt the best traits of every person you work with and make them into you. Stay yourself, but add these traits to really blossom. This is something that I have never forgotten and still use today. I've interjected the humor of an individual I worked for at Nissan in San Francisco, the work ethic that I saw from my boss at Hyundai in California, the sales techniques and interpersonal skills from a colleague in Dallas, and yes, even the BS that I had to put up with from more than a few bosses and some of the jobs I've held at different companies. Yes, even these types of bosses have traits that I have learned from. I've learned what not to do. My wish for you is that you never have these types of supervisors or bosses. But if, or should I say when you do, remember this advice. Learn from them. Learn what not to do. You're leaving this great institution, and we'll all go in different directions, different paths in your life. ISU was a great foundation and provided a great experience for me for the future. You will have many different challenges than I had when I left Terre Haute those 29 years ago, but many of the same as well. Getting that first job, finding that first place to live, cooking. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've been very fortunate in my different positions. Most of them were jobs that I really liked and working with people that I really enjoyed being around. They haven't all been like this, but the vast majority have. For those jobs that you encounter in your careers that aren't absolutely perfect, I give you my second piece of advice. Perform at the highest level you can in any position you receive. Make it yours. The reasons for this are twofold. First, you'll make a good name for yourself. And second, a person with a good name and good performance will move through the system faster. Meaning you can get the heck out of that job that you don't like much quicker. Trust me, it works. Here's an example. In my first job at Hyundai, they didn't have an office for me when I showed up on my first day. The first office they had for me was actually a meeting room, which got somewhat awkward when meetings were held in that same room by others. When they realized that that wasn't going to work, they moved me to a storage closet that had a table in it. Now if this had been when I first had been with Hyundai for a while, I would have gotten the hint and probably left. I'd only been there a week, so it was far too early to send that signal. I can tell you I sure did my best that I possibly could during the time in the storage closet, and soon I actually had an office with a real desk and a working telephone. I do have some great stories to tell if you want to hang around afterwards about working in that storage room, however. You should all be very proud. You graduated from one of the top universities in this great country of ours. You're entering into a job market at a time that is full of excitement, at a time when those who persevere, those who have the strong foundation that ISU provides, will do very well. This brings me to the last piece of advice that I want you all to take away from my time with you today. Probably the most important. If you remember one thing that I say today, I want you to remember this. As you get your new jobs and move into the workforce, as you go out and prosper, as you start your families and grow your careers, always, always, always drive a Volkswagen. It will never let you down. I wish you nothing but the best and wish you a great holiday and my deepest congratulations for graduating from Indiana State University. Thank you.